Olam haba. I want to share something super important that I realized about our thinking and focusing on Olam haba. Some people don't focus on Olam haba at all in a certain way. I know that sounds funny, but they don't. It's like another topic. And I have recently been dealing with it a lot because I've been giving over the first parak of Mesil Hashem in Yeshiva, and I also made a podcast, Mesil Hashem Explained, which we're now in the first parak. We spent a bunch of classes on the Hakdama, and now we're in the first parak in those classes. So that's really what it's all about. So I have been thinking about it. But I found, and listen to this, and this is really important, was that I was making a mistake in how I was giving it over because I gave it over basically just as an intellectual argument. Me'oivai tichakmeni, David HaMelech says, from my enemies make me wiser, which the Pashup shot, we always have to know what the Pashup shot is. David HaMelech had a lot of enemies, inside and out, from the family, from non-Jews, the Yitzhar, of course, also. Me'oivai tichakmeni, help me to be wiser than our enemies. The person has to be wiser than our enemies. We fall very often to our enemies. But there's another shot in Me'oivai tichakmeni, which is, I should become wise from my enemies. Let me learn from my enemies. Allow me to learn from my enemies. And I think there are enemies we have to learn from. And those are fundamentalistic Arabs. That to them, we see that Olam Haba, their perverted, skewered vision of Olam Haba, but moves them. That's Bavost, as we say in Yiddish. And they're thinking that if I will get to Olam Haba through this heinous act, Rahman al how they treat Jews, how they treat others, Arabs, how they treat other enemies. Okay, but here's the point, friends, that I realize that they're moved by it. So it's not enough to just be intellectually on Olam Haba. You have to get moved by it. That was the mistake I had in the I don't want to go into too much, but I'll give two examples in two sessions in Masil Sharm Explained at the end of it's called really, I called it an addendum. It won't be coming out for, I don't know, 10 weeks or so, something like that. But I called it an addendum to the first parak and an addendum to the first parak. This idea I spoke about a lot, barichos, me'ovek techakmeni, and I said we have to try to make it real to us. And here's two, I had six ideas. I'm going to share two just to show you what I mean, because everybody understands the dovetail between our Vaad last time we talked about Roas and Olad of the big Roas and Olad of Olam Haba, and this. So I said, "Oh, you have to explain a little bit more Olam Haba here." And of course, I'm totally speaking as someone who needs a big chizik in this myself. I would live more and have Olam Haba in front of me in my decision making, etc. So here's one idea: you like Shabbos? Many people like Shabbos. They enjoy Shabbos. Shabbos. People look forward to Shabbos. It's time to sing. When I was younger, there was a journey song. It's time to sing Good Shabbos when all your work is done. Right? People look forward to Good Shabbos. Just when Shabbos will all be free. Yismechu Malchuscha. All the songs about Shabbos. Shabbos, Ishain, Shabbos. Right? Shabbos. Oh, you didn't into Shabbos. Baruch Hashem. Well, if you're into Shabbos, guess what? There's a big Shabbos waiting. This Shabbos is a Me'ain Olam Haba. It's only a little. It's a Me'ain. I think somewhere in Chazal, I think it says it's a 60th. This is a wisp, a shadow of the experience, an echo, far off echo of what it's going to be like. So if you like Shabbos, you should want to get to Olam Haba. Again, I'm not trying to intellectually beat up everybody. I'm trying to give you an idea that you can work with to try to engender in yourself the ratzon to get to Olam Haba, not just intellectually. I know that it's important and it's the end of everything and it's a tachlis. And I know this world is a prosdar in front of the trackland. More than that, whoa, I want to get there. I want Shabbos. I want the big Shabbos. That's exciting to me. And my decisions are going to be moved by it. One other idea, not everybody's into Shabbos. Some people are very much like learning. Well, guess what? The experience of Olam Haba is very much going to be the experience of learning. Shemi Shmuel says, Talmid Chum don't have menucha lo b'olam haza, lo b'olam haba. And they keep going and explains the difference between tefillah. It's a very, very important piece in Parshat Vayetze. I think it's in Tafresh Ayin Beis in Vayetze. Everybody can look it up. It's super, super important. And he says that tefillah is no tefillah in the next world. But in the next world, there's a Hasidic Rebbe, by the way. He's saying that the whole thing is Torah. Torah is the tachlis of everything. And that's what a person's going to be doing. All the sagas and things. So if you like learning then, right, it's like someone looks forward to good shir. Moshe Shapiro is speaking not anymore. But when Moshe Shapiro used to speak, people their whole week they look forward to Moshe speak. Moshe, you're a good chabura, good gesundheit. Oh, this speaker is coming. People get ready for Shabbos Agadol drasha, the Shabbos Shuvah drasha. We know this Rav. He's really this person in Torah anytime. He's such a special speaker. X Y Z. Guess what? Is going to be. That's what's going to be there. So we have to be excited about that. It's going to be the greatest year on the greatest year in the world. And by the way, I'll just add two things uh, for women who. I'm not saying women should learn or shouldn't learn. I'm just saying if let's say some women don't learn that much, but if you're supporting your children and husbands learning, you're also going to get a team of that, and it's going to be delicious. And those who give money to yeshivas are also going to get a team in that, even if they don't learn too much. There's a famous story of Chaim Volozhiner that one of the big supporters of the Volozhin yeshiva passed away, and Chaim Volozhiner, I think, was working hard on a Mishnah or a certain sugya, and this Toreim, who wasn't a big Talmud Chacham, came, and he told Chaim Volozhiner the pshat in the dream. Shocking. And Reb Chaim Volozhiner said, I knew that the supporters, Eitz Chaim Lamachas Zikim Ba, I knew the supporters of Torah get hasagas of Torah, but I didn't realize it happened that fast. And also those who have difficulty in learning, who have time to learn but have difficulty, and we run into Chashav, beautiful Yidden like that try so hard, but the Gemara doesn't go in. Don't worry, in the next world it's going to be open. All the things that are your ADHD is not going to and your lack of distraction is not going to stop you in that next world. And we're all gonna, and we're all gonna remember things, and it's gonna be an unbelievable. It's gonna be a Torah fest over there. That's what it says. So those are two things to engender in ourselves. Okay. But Aaron, Eric, to hear the big point I saw was I was teaching to intellectually. Thank God I've been speaking about it for weeks in yeshiva just because I was learning Mesilas Sharm, and I saw it wasn't registering by some of the guys so much. The guy even said to me, "Why? We don't speak about Olam Haba so much in other places." So what's the answer? They're wrong? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about it too much. Maybe I'm talking about it too intellectually. Like, yeah, you have to figure out a way to touch people, and children have to be talked about. But it has to be something which is like everything in Yiddishkeit. You have to varevnas shalom. You have to make a geschmack. So you have to make olam haba geschmack. And I don't. This was new stuff to me, friends. Right? Like I said, I have 6 ideas. Anybody who wants more could listen to Mesilas Sharm explained. But there's a lot more to speak about. But that was just my beginning things. Everybody should be doing that to themselves. That was my. Just before we go on, I want to make this point. Everybody should be spending time thinking to themselves, how can they make Olam Haba more real to themselves? Not just in a scary way, in a geschmacka way, right? It's something. How can we make it? It's more something that I look forward to than when it's something I look forward to. It's something that I adjust my actions accordingly. Okay, so both like back to Ross and Olad. I just want to give two more examples of Ross and Olad. Aizehu Chacham, I am reading the biography of Rav Moshe Feinstein, which I read many, many, many years ago, but there's an expanded version, I think an improved version, that came out a while ago, and I hadn't read it, and I started reading it. And there was a Rosh Yeshiva came of a town, and he wanted to build a new mikveh in the town. And it was a big tzarech, a big necessity in the town to build this mikveh. And he didn't have enough money on his own. And the conservative people, right then, I don't know if there's that many conservatives that are holding by this now, but 40, 50 years ago, there were conservative people that wanted to go to the mikveh also. And the question was, this Rosh Yeshiva posited to Moshe Feinstein whether he should take money from the conservative party or shul or whatever to build the mikveh. So what do you think Rabbi Feinstein said? Don't. Why?
So what it's going to lead to something negative.
Yes, right? Rav Moshe was Roas and Olad friends, right? He said, if you take money for them now, they're going to want to do their conversions, and where are they going to do the tefillah for their conversions, which we can't say yes to, in your mikvah, and that you can't have, and therefore Moshe stopped it, and eventually the fellow got $75,000 from Satmar. Satmar were big bali tzlaka, and they're into mikvahs, and that's how the mikvah was built. It would be nice to know who the Rav was and where it happened, but it doesn't say. But this is the story. It sounds genuine. I don't believe every story written in every book, but it sounds genuine. But either way, Rabosai, it certainly gets across the point of Rosh and Ola. There's such a beautiful example. I need the mikvah right now. I don't have the money. The community is small. Here's the tzarech. Women are driving 50, 60, 70 miles away. This can't go on. I have to do something, said Rabbi Feinstein. Roas and Olad. But what's gonna come out of it? Excellent example. I want to know the example, and I'm not judging anybody. God forbid to judge anybody on this topic. And No judgments, okay? I'll say that first. But I want to give an example of Ross and Ola. A person says, maybe they want to have two children, three children. There are reasons that people can't have more children. But let's say a person says, you know what? I want to keep, things small and controlled. Every kid gets the right amount of attention, etc. A lot as far as Roas and Ola. You see the big mishpachos. It's so beautiful. I see I don't want to put an iron heart on anybody, but I see the older people I work with that had big families. And there's another chasna and a great grandson and great grand. Someone said one time, like children are like this, and great grandchildren are like popcorn. Boom, 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 boom. So look at Rosa Nola. Yeah, right now it's a struggle to have kids. Again, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just giving everybody something to think about. The Rosa Nolad. Right now it's a struggle. You're right, but what's the Nolad? And who's going to take care of you? I'm going to tell you something. I have Baruch Hashem good Talmidim, some on this thing that I love, that I'm close with, things like that. But they're going to take care of me when I'm older. They take care of Schoonmaker. Who's taking care of my father? My father was unfortunately, his tifkud had gone down a lot. Who's taking care of him? Father was a yeshiva for 30 years. I don't see any Talmidim around, and I don't blame anybody. And his kids are around a lot. You know, the children take care of you. So it's the geschmack of kids and getting taken care of kids. No one knows how it's going to turn out, but look around. Look. That's a good example of Rosh Hashanah. You go to Hasana, you go to that big picture. Look what it looks like to have a big family. They're tsaris also. You're right. Some kids are this, that, definitely. But look at the geschmack. Look at the yofi. You're not growing up alone. You have someone who's going to take care of you. If someone say, I don't know, not to talk about someone say Kaddish for you, but uh, let's apply that strongly. So, I used to think it wasn't like that. Then I read some business books in my time. I read a book named Winning, which is I have over here even. It's from my world famous books by the person who was the head of GE, and he said he met women that made the decision. No family career. We always think like, oh, yeah, everybody, the super women all balance everything. No, they don't. By the way, it's getting worse. If anybody read Jonathan Rosenbaum's excellent article in Mishpacha magazine, 40% of women in a certain category don't want to get married anymore. 30% of men, 40% of women. And a lot of women look at men as like losers. It's terrible. It's terrible. Marriage is going out of style. Rahman al people. Why do I have to the whole though? But anyway, but let's focus for a second. So you have that woman, that man says, I don't want a family. I'm into my career and I'm making and I'm going out to, meeting people and taking vacations. Good, good. You know what? One day you're going to be older and you're going to be lonely. Who's going to be with you then? Your boss? Your business associates? Who's gonna be with you? And people have friends also, but friends is the whole thing. It's not a pasha parsha. Friends. Friends are there when there's no glue betzim. I don't mean that people have really good friends, but many friends, look, people move on in life. New job, new friends, you know, and what are you gonna have? You're not Ross and Olad. You're not seeing further. Okay, so those are some examples. Okay, Rabosai, it's bittersweet to move on, but move on we must. And Baruch Hashem, we did speak now 6.5 Vadim about Roas and Olad. I think for me it was very, very big because it was the kind of thing that could be in my life. I would have never put it more on the radar, and after dealing with it 6 weeks and discuss Tzadik Tzimar, I put it more on my radar. I hope it will stay on my radar. I would advise everybody to have a time every week for 1 minute. It could be 1 minute after davening on Shabbos morning, Friday night. Shabbos morning is a good time, maybe less of a rush. After the Kiddush, maybe before the Kiddush, maybe after Mincha on Shabbos. Give yourself 1 minute a week to think about being a Roas and Olad. 1 minute to keep the sugya alive in your head. It's an important sugya. It's part of being a Chacham. Am I a person? Always ask yourself, am I doing it? Am I being Roas and Olad? Do I see examples being Roas and Olad? Am I learning Roas and Olad? I would have never, I quoted Rabbi Feinstein twice, if you're listening the last 2 weeks, on Rosh Hashanah because I'm in the sugya. And now I hope that I'll keep noticing it, right? Just like in the past, I noticed where Moshe's Hasmadas HaTorah and his Chesed, those are sugyas which are alive by me. Rosh Hashanah wasn't very alive. I mean, I hope it'll be alive and I'll keep doing it, but it's a shame to let it go fall into the background because it's part of being a Chacham. And everybody sees how important it is. And the examples we brought today and the examples we've been bringing over the 6 weeks. Now, Rabosai, though, and any women listening, also Rabosai, we move on. Okay, next Chachma. Aizehu Chacham, halome mikol adam. Is this a bein adam lechavero idea? It's a part of being a good person to learn from people. Right? People feel very good when they're learned from. I picked up something from your talk. I noticed something from the way you act. I saw from the way you deal with your friends. That's a tremendous compliment, right? Mimicry is one of the greatest compliments. There's a good expression which is escaping me to that effect. Is that what it is? So, what's the idea behind Ross between Lomi Mikol Kol Adam, the next level of Chachma? So, there's a super important Rabbeinu Yonah, which I'm going to read part of, and of course on the Mishnah. Amru Chachmei Umas. I think it's always relevant. I always get a kick out of the fact that in Lo Made Mikol Adam, Rabbeinu Yonah is quoting the secular scholars. Ki hayodeh kol chachmos. Im eino oev chachma, eino chachma al tibish. Unbelievably stark line. Someone who knows all chachmas. You can go and he can quote Encyclopedia Talmudid and the Wikipedia, etc., and he's got answers on his fingertips, but he has no desire for chachma. He's not driven by chachma. He's not a chachma. He's a tibish. Achar she'eino oev chachma. Ki hi adas. Someone who loves Chachma, who misabela, al b'shenedek, he knows nothing now, no knowledge. Harei zenikra Chacham, shall kolpam tasigal Chachma. He will get to Chachma. Hamitis v'das elokim timtza. He'll get there because he has desire. Incredible. Val zelmar. That's what Ben Zoma means to say. Al zelmar Ben Zoma ezu Chachma lo mikol adam. Shekol kach oy b'Chachma misabela sheshol kol adam. You have something to tell me? Taxi driver, you got a word for me? Let me hear. Vaf misheni yodeh, kim davar echad. So he has one piece of knowledge of me. I want the chachma. Yomad mimenu, v'az yetzlich darko v'az yeschil. V'al zeh nikra chacham. And that's what it says. Mikom lam de'eskalti, shalomi mikol adam v'lo ha'omer zeh eni yodeh kamoni. I don't know, like him, what does he have to teach me? That guy got up in shul. I should be giving the drasha. I'm a Talmud Chacham. I learned for 5 years in yeshiva. He learned for 3 years. Why should he get up? He maybe only 1 year. Bichlal is not in learning. Why should I listen to him? Mikulam lamad. Viskil mashal adam shifsi kli katan below. Okay, good. Mikol adam mevakish. Like it's like someone who lost a small kli. You lost your wallet. You go ask anybody. You know where my wallet is. Epis, you saw my wallet. So both sides. So you see in Rabbeinu Yonah, it's not at all ben l'chavero. It's a mean in the person. Lomi mikol adam is an expression, listen carefully now, of a person who has an engine of wanting chachma. I want chachma ad kedei kach that I'll learn from anybody to do it. Okay? So the engine is, and therefore, from this Rabbeinu Yonah, what's the first thing? We could say, let's be Lomi mikol adam, just go do it. The first thing we have to do is to understand what the meat is. What is it? Who? And what makes one of Lo Mikol Adam? It's you have an engine of being desirous of Chachma. It's an outgrowth. Lo Mikol Adam is, listen carefully, is an outgrowth of having an engine of desire for wisdom. And one who's desirous of wisdom realizes that there is wisdom by every human being. And therefore, I want to get the wisdom from whoever I can. Now, we now jump into this topic. By the way, we'll be on Bezrat Hashem next week, although I'll probably just tape it and send it out because it's Hanukkah. Bezrat Hashem. The week afterwards, we're going to be off. I'll be off, but there will be a VOD next week. We'll probably be sent out. So I think what we've done a lot over the years is when we get to a new topic, it has to start with some self-introspection, some self-reflection, some analysis. And that means that if you want to do it seriously and help everybody in Nevada is doing things seriously, is you have to take some time out. Find the time, find the quiet time where you can think, concentrate on these points. Am I an Oev Chachma? Don't ask yet. Am I an Lo Mikol Adam? Ask a more basic question. Am I an Oev Chachma? Do I love Chachma? And listen to this. I had a nice idea. Bring 2 proofs to yourself that you do love wisdom, and bring 2 proofs that you don't love wisdom. Right? Do bring 2 kashas on yourself. I thought that was a new way, as opposed to just thinking generally about it. And where bring 2 areas, 2 proofs that you love wisdom, and bring 2 proofs that you don't love wisdom. If I really love wisdom, I see that I do love wisdom because you don't have to come to a maskana. It's not we're just starting, right? If you wouldn't know the Mishnah, next question. If you wouldn't know the Mishnah, would you engage in learning from others? It's always interesting, right? Because Chazal led us so far the way. So a person says, "Oh, I'm a lo made mikol adam because I know the Mishnah said I should do it." Okay, but that's not really a sign in a certain way. That's a sign that you listen to the rabbis. It's not necessarily sign your Avodas Chachma now, right? It's a little bit of a circle. So I thought that was an interesting way to think about it. In myself, I know I'm supposed to be Lo Mikol Adam because of the Mishnah. And let's say you do. Maybe you don't. If you don't, you're really missing it. Okay, that's fine because we're going to grow. But if you do Lo Mikol Adam, is it because you have the Midah or because you know the Mishnah wants you to? Next question to think about. How often do you learn from others, right? I'm getting this ready. I leave these things on my desk next to me, so I remember to look through them. Let's see, I got the paper. Do you learn from others? Okay. So Rabosa, here's the Kabbalah, and then I'm going to leave everybody with Kabbalah and a question. Kabbalah is to think about all these things. There's no better than time, right? Think about all those things. Now that we've defined, right? We jumped right in strongly. Lo Mikol Adam, which is a Chacham, the Chachma is built on the fact that you're desirous of Chachma. That's a Chacham. Someone who's desirous of Chachma is a Chacham because he's going to get there. Someone who knows everything but isn't desirous of Chacham is not a Chacham. He's a tipish, he's a fool. So we want to be Chachamim, and that means we have to encompass in ourselves the midah of Lo Mikol Adam, which is to be Ohev Chachma. So I want everybody to think about themselves. In what ways? Where do I see that I am an Ohev Chachma? And allow yourselves to see that, right? Don't just be down on yourselves all the time. Don't just be hard on myself a lot. There are midas that I do that it's Ohev Chachma. I do this, right? Don't just think about the time you didn't learn or what you didn't do, that sure you didn't go to. But find two proofs. I want to make it alive to us, this idea, right? Here are two proofs that I am an Ohev Chachma. Here's two proofs that I'm not an Ohev Chachma. Would I engage in learning from others if I didn't know the Mishnah? And how often do I learn from others? Okay? And now I also want to, so let's just jump into the pool. And here's the pool. By next week, everybody, I want you to learn 3 things from people not close to you. Okay? Kedarkin, we're going to try to break down the sugya into little pieces, different pieces. So there's something about learning from my wife, my children, a Rebbe, a colleague. Let's say from people you don't have that much to do with. I want everybody to try by next week, next Sunday, next time you listen to this VOD, to have 3 things you learned over the week, right? To train ourselves. So we're doing 2 things this week, friends. We are being reflective about the Midah, and we're also jumping in and engaging in it. Okay? And through both Bezrat Hashem, both of those, through the reflection and the engagement, we're going to get somewhere. Okay, so everybody should come with more knowledge about the self on the topic, and everybody should come with 3 things that I learned, I was watching, I saw the taxi, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I saw the taxi driver, I saw someone next on the bus, I passed someone who was walking, I saw this, I learned something from them. Boom. I learned something from them. Okay? And I want to leave everybody finally with a question. Why is it, we'll deal with this the next week, why is it Lo Mikol Adam, why isn't Lo Mikol Davar? Right? The Mishnah tells me I have to learn from people, but don't we find in Chazal the idea of learning from ants and learning from other things, right? So why is the Lashon of Mishnah, why is the point of the Mishnah? Right, again, especially as we're saying, it's not a ben adam l'chavero thing. It's not a personal thing. It's the me than the person. So that same person who's lo made mikol adam could also be lo made mikol davar. So why is the me the lo mikol adam? Why isn't lo mikol davar? Okay, I'm not feeling great, so I'm going to sign off. And I wish everybody hatzlacha. See you next week, and we might not be together, but I will bleed out or send something out, and that will probably be something that could keep us going for 2 weeks until we. Until we meet again. Okay, so it's Lacha and Chanukah Sameach to everybody. Let's take good advantage of Chanukah to learn the Torah and to learn from each other. All the best.